Welcome back to the Beginner Tips series for No Man's Sky. I'm Jason Plays, and in the last episode, I kind of went over some tips on the starting difficulty. Like, again, we can always go in here if you want, press your pause, go into your options, and you have the difficulty sliders at all times. The only time you will not have them is if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you can lock your difficulty settings. So, like, if you say, hey, look, I want to lock it in because I might change it later on and I don't want to. Like, there's a special, like, video series I'm doing, or there's a special challenge I'm doing and I don't want to get tempted. You can do that. But other than that, if you just have it just regular, you can change it anytime. You can always pop in here, make your purchases free so nothing costs anything, and then boom, apply your difficulty changes and you're good to go. So always remember, if you're just starting No Man's Sky, you can always change it. Or if you change something, you're like, actually, you know what? I messed up all my stuff. I don't know what I did, but I want to go back to normal. So just switch it back to normal, and it will set everything back to the default settings and apply it. And there you go. So now everything is set to normal again. Anyway, I said we were going to go talk about the terrain manipulator and a lot of your mining beam stuff. So let's do that. I just fixed my ship. In the beginning of the game, you have to fix your ship before you can go. Oh, wait a minute. I did not fix it. I need to put in my... There we go. Done. All right. Now we're done. So after you fix your ship, you can start flying around. Now, before you leave, a big tip that a lot of people don't use or don't think about is you can shoot the ground and get materials. So you'll notice there's nothing in my... well, there's 100 tritium in my ship. That's it, right? If I go slow, low and slow, and I just shoot the ground, I will collect all the resources on the ground. Now, this is very limited. You can't get any of the advanced items. So, like some of the rocks that you see that need an advanced mining beam, you cannot shoot them with this. Like it says, sorry, you can't get it because it's an advanced mining laser is required. So you can't get any of those things. However, all the basic stuff, we're talking all the minerals, all the plants that are very basic, and you can get the blue crystals right here. You can get and collect all of them, and if I look at my inventory, look at that. Boom. Just piling up. So if you want to, this is very safe, very easy to do. You don't have to worry about the sentinels coming after you. You don't have to worry about anything, and it's a really nice way to kind of farm up a lot of resources early. Switch over to my rockets. Boom. There you go. So very easy, very awesome way to do it if you just want to go around on a planet and just shoot the ground. And some planets are way better than others. There's going to be some planets you run into that don't have anything on the ground, and you're like, well, that's not useful at all. And there's some of them that are going to have a whole bunch of little tiny rocks that would be irritating on foot. If you're in your ship, you can just shoot the ground and destroy all of them. But once you've fixed your ship, go up into the atmosphere, into space, and it's going to give you a little bit of like the tutorial on, hey, this is how you use your ship. So you can use your boost. You can pulse drive, all that kind of stuff. All the normal tutorial tips. So we got to do that. Boom. All right, boost. And now let's do our pulse engine. But it should give you a little bit of a heads up. Like, hey, come over here. We're going to give you your terrain manipulator and your base computer to start out with. So we're going to talk to this character, incoming transmission. So again, if you want the details, definitely follow the beginner's guide. This is just the beginner tips. So this is not going to be in depth. This is just going to be, hey, look, these are the quick down and dirty things you need to know as a beginning player. And if you're really interested, again, beginner's guide is where you want to go. So let's go over here. Oh, it's on the same planet. Let's go. So let's go down in here, and this is where we're gonna find a damaged machinery that's gonna give us our terrain manipulator and our base computer plans. The big thing we're gonna talk about in this video is our awesome terrain manipulator and our mining beam, because there's a lot of cool tips there. Oh my God, is this gonna be the? Oh yep. Where's my target at? Right there. Oh my God. Yeah, target sweeper will be the bane of my existence. We'll talk about the target sweeper later on, but man, it sucks. All right. Anyway, I believe it's going to be right around here. Yep, right there. So if you want just the quick down and dirty version of the target sweeper, when you get a mission objective, they'll give you a target sweeper, which is just basically the targeted area. Pull up your visor, and the yellow is where it's at. So right now it's in the center. That's where it is. Now it's kind of pulsing to the left, which means it's to the left of wherever I'm looking. So it's not very accurate, as you can see. Like, that's a big, wide area, which is why I hate the target sweeper. But you also see the estimated distance, so use that to your advantage. You see it says 171, 160, or 67, 66. So we know it's generally in this direction. And as you get close enough, I believe if you're within 100 units, 100 feet of it, it will just mark it for you like that. So we know this is our objective right here. So let's grab our terrain manipulator, and let me show you some cool stuff about this thing, because it is pretty awesome. It is pretty dang epic. So let's do this. We're gonna skip through all this stuff. If you want the details, again, go to the detailed guide. But now we should have our terrain manipulator. So we're gonna install that again using our build menu. Press A for your build menu in your multi-tool. And we are going to need 2 carbon nanotubes and 1 dihydrogen jelly. So I like to have my items ready to go before I even try to build it. 1 jelly, 2 tubes. And so now you don't have to have it. Like, if you only have 1, like if I just had my jelly, it'll just sit there and wait. It'll pulse for you. Say, hey, look, you need to build this thing. This is the next steps in your emissions. So you can, if you didn't have enough, like, carbon to make your nanotubes, don't worry about it. Just go out, get some more carbon, come back and do it. So it doesn't have to be done all at once. You can do one at a time or however you want to do it. But once you have your terrain manipulator, the first thing I want you to realize is there are different sizes to the terrain manipulator. So if you hit left bumper and right bumper, or R1 and L1, you'll see a big sphere. That's the size of your terrain manipulator. That's the size of how the big area that they're going to destroy. So this will come into play when you find resources or when you're base building. If you're trying to build a base and you want to clear out like this section right here, you don't want to use the small one, because look at it. It's going to take me like a million years to flatten this out. Go to the large one and look at that. Just decimates that hillside if you want to do that. Like, look at that. Boom. Easy enough, right? But you can also switch your manipulator down to a create, so you can actually create more if you want. Like if you want to make pillars or whatever, there you go. You can make your own terrain. And if you hit it again, press B or O if you're on PlayStation, you'll go to a tool called the flatten. And the flatten will only flatten to wherever that circle is. So if you hold it down, now it'll flatten to whatever that is. So if I move it around, it'll flatten to that original spot that I picked. If I select like up here and I hit flatten, you'll see the like the blue checkerboard right there. That's the location I'm flattening to. So it'll get rid of all the terrain up there, but it will not raise it up, as you can see. If you want to raise up the terrain, you have to generate it. You have to build it. You can't flatten it up. So there you go. But a nice, cool tip is if you're trying to flatten, like let's get over here. Let's get some space between us. Let's do this. So let's say, hey, like right here, this is a cool, perfect base area, but I don't like the angle it's at, right? All you have to do is pick your angle right here, and you go in. And now you can flatten everywhere. And look at that. That makes it really easy to build, very simple. Also, if you're trying to make an underground like cave base, you can use that to your advantage. So let's mine down a little bit. And I'm like, hey, you know what? I like this right here. I want to make an underground like little like hidden base in this mountain, right? Once I get down to where I think I should be, go back to your flatten. Keep hitting B or O if you're on PlayStation. Get to your flatten tool, and you'll see it at the top right-hand side of the screen. And if I hit it right there, boom. Oh, yeah. And it will flatten. Now, keep in mind, I believe it's a 10-foot high limit, so it'll only go up 10 feet. So this is ideal for building underground. If you just want to build under here, there you go. So it's nice and flat on the top and bottom. It's a big disc. So it's very, very cool. The other thing to keep in mind, however, is that No Man's Sky is very finicky. If you try to build a base here, the game might misremember. So it might think, oh, this is underground. It's supposed to be full of terrain. It will fill in this gap again. So if you're building underground or you're flattening, be very careful. Sometimes, you know, you'll leave for a week, you'll come back, and when you load back in, the game will not remember that you got rid of all of this terrain under the ground, and it will kind of fill it back in, which kind of screws you, and you have to literally get back out and do it all over again. There's no way to convert it. It's gotten better, so it's not always going to happen. I haven't had it happen for a while in some of my bases, but it's always a risk. So ideally, you don't want to build underground. If you have a cool idea, absolutely do it, but you run the risk of the terrain coming back. So keep that in mind. But yeah, I mean, look at that. Boom. We're getting a lot of stuff here. But the big reason you want the terrain manipulator is you want to mine resources. You want to get like the copper. You want to get the metal, the special resources. So we have a copper deposit right over here, right? That is where the size of the terrain manipulator really comes into play. So this is a big tip, and everyone, I'm guilty of it as well, they don't use the terrain manipulator to the highest that you can use it, the best capabilities of the terrain manipulator. Because if you're making a base, if you're doing like, you're just trying to get rid of the terrain, use the largest one. By default, it'll always be the middle. It'll always be the middle size, right? It'll always be the happy middle, because that's perfect, right? It's the perfect size. It's not too big, not too small. However, if you're trying to build a base, you want the larger one because you're trying to get rid of stuff. If you're trying to find stuff underground, you don't want to use a little tiny one to build a tunnel because, number one, you can't fit, but number two, it's going to take you like forever to get underground. Look at that. It took me forever, and I can't even fit through that hole. So you don't want to use the small one. You want to use the big one to just get rid of it. Like make a big old tunnel down there. That way you can get down to a cave or an item that's underground, anything like that. So you always want to keep your eye on how large or small your terrain manipulator is. And when it comes to the deposits, these mineral or these material deposits, like copper, for instance, you actually want the opposite. So let me fill it up all the way. I'm going to refill my terrain manipulator. It's at 100% right now, right? If you get over to your deposit, whatever you want to build with, pull out the small one. You want to do the smallest one because, look at this. I'm going to get a whole bunch of copper, and it's not taking up as much resource, right? Look at that. The amount of resources you get from a deposit are actually based on the time you are spent digging in it. So the longer it takes you, the more resources you're going to get from it. So I just did that for a little while. I got 65 copper. And I just took out this little tiny section, right? Because it took me a long time. If I switch over to the largest one, I just put a big old hole there. I just added 20 more. Not even 20, like 15 more. And I did more. Look at that. I removed more copper, and I got less copper from it. I took up a whole bunch of space. That is why you don't want to use the largest one. You want to use the smallest one. The resource gathering is based on your time that you're digging into it. You're using your tool on it. That is what you want to do. So just take your time. If you really want a resource. Now, I'm lazy. I always use the middle one, the medium-sized one, because I'm lazy, and that's the default setting. I'll just switch over to my mining tool, my terrain manipulator, and I'll use the medium-sized. It's perfectly fine, but if you want to get the most resources out of a deposit, use the smallest one. If you're just trying to get rid of terrain, like you're trying to get rid of stuff, use the largest one because it'll just get rid of it super quickly. It won't give you a lot of materials, but it'll get rid of it. That way you just get it out of your way. So there you are. Now, if you want to, some really good tips on your mining beam. You'll notice right here, I'm doing 40 damage, right? 40 damage. But as my mining beam gets hotter, look at that, 50, 60, 70. I'm doing more damage the hotter it gets. Look at that, 100. And so you'll get an overheat warning. Like if you hold it down for too long, your mining beam will overheat and boom, right there. And it forces you to stop and it cools you down. So if you want to mine as fast as possible with your mining beam, you want to keep it warm. So run it for a while. You'll see the numbers go up and up. And you'll also see the beam color. It changes from green to yellow to orange to red. Red is super hot, and that means it's about to overheat. Like, here you go. It goes red, and let go for a second, then use it again. You want to keep it as hot as you can without overheating, because you will mine so fast. Look at, we're just blowing through all this stuff really, really quickly. Like, look at that. That's crazy, right? That's what you want to do. You want to pop these as fast as possible. Keep your mining beam as hot as you can. Now, if you're running the limit, you're going to overheat, and that's not a big deal. It's not going to damage your multi-tool. It's not going to hurt anything. It'll just force you to kind of stop and reset. It'll just cool down your multi-tool, and you're done. There's no durability. You don't have to worry about any kind of durability or anything on your multi-tool. It'll work forever. There is fuel, so you have to worry about that. So I'm constantly refueling with carbon. Hey, carbon. There we go. But yeah, there's no durability. You're not going to hurt anything by overheating your multi-tool. Don't worry about that. But you just generally want to try to keep your multi-tool as hot as possible, especially when you're mining a whole bunch of resources. So let's get in there and done. So yeah, that is all the tool tips that you really want to use for your terrain manipulator and your mining beam. Hopefully you guys liked the video. If you did, hit that like button. And in the next video, we'll talk about some of the more advanced items you can get, like your multi-tool. We can get a different multi-tool. You can get different ships, that kind of stuff. We'll talk about that in the next video. So I'll see you guys then.